Hello, and thank you for joining us for Paper Previews. I am OLE Ed Fries, and I'm joined by the one and only. Nope, this side. Chris Parrish. You know what? Screw this. I'm never on that side. There we go. Boom. That way. Chris Parrish. How you doing, Parrish?
Hi, I'm doing well. So easy
There you
that
go.
is. One shot.
That's because you're always on that side. You're not. I'm not used to being the one.
That's not true. I've done this a lot of times. Also, I realized what part of my wall isn't to you and what part is.
So Parrish, I'm going to bring a little bit of our pre-show chatter into the stream here. How excited were you that WWE decided to use for the one match that got changed entirely new graphics?
Well, so they didn't. They had both, but
no, I know.
But when they changed the match,
they only put
changed it to one graphic, and that just wasn't the one that I had made. For this
we got
show,
CBRS Entertainment. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Chris Best. And those that don't know, Chris Best and OMD will be joining me tomorrow night for the paper reviews as we go ahead and review. So I said
this
paper reviews.
Yeah,
yes,
we're doing three.
Oh, I'm excited for this show.
I am too. I'm actually more excited for the match that got changed. I just hated how they did it, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll let you get there.
But yeah, let's kind of before we get started, let's also just take time to plug our good old friends that you see at the top there, Rogue Energy. Today is Black Friday, so they got a lot of their Black Friday sales going on right now, and you can definitely get
off.
Yeah, you can go there and use them. You just can't attach our promo code on there. So you have a choice to make. If you want to save money for yourself and just yourself, don't use it. But if you like to help us out, you can still save some money for yourself. You just also be helping us out financially a little bit. So
yeah. And for those that don't know, we just got a restock of the Fruit Punch and Dragon Fruit Mango tubs are both back in stock as of today. And if you use the code BOGO50, you'll get 50% off your order. So if you've been waiting and you don't know if you want to do it or not, go ahead and hit BOGO50. Go ahead and get one tub and a shaker if you don't already have one. Go ahead and grab one of each. Go ahead and put BOGO50 in this time. And when you like it and you enjoy it, go ahead and use our promo code next time, OLE Pods, to get yourself 10% off your next order.
Yeah, and then
Chris Best, don't just go do it next week. Do it today. It's Black Friday. Do it today. You can get it for half price.
He might get paid next week, though, unfortunately. But
that's fine.
I believe that they're going to keep the sales on because it is Cyber Monday on Monday. So
this is true.
So
he is confirming he does get paid next week.
Yeah. But yeah, we got the voice Joshua Joseph coming in saying hello. Thanks. Oh, you're very welcome, Joshua. And little news to report tomorrow.
Yeah.
If people are aware that I, on my socials, on the Chris Parrish socials, whether it's the Facebook, the Twitch, the YouTube, I will be doing a live watch long to the Survivor Series War Games show. And Joshua Joseph has been confirmed on joining as well. So we have Joshua Joseph, Mark Talks Wrestling will be joining us, and Chris Best. So if you still want to get in, just message me and we'll make it happen. Let's just have some fun watching War Games.
Yes, War Games.
So
let's go ahead and get started on this show because I'm excited for this card.
Yeah.
We got some people joining us on the Facebook, so if you're on Facebook, go ahead and give us a reaction over there. If you're on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more shows like this. All kinds of great stuff.
And if you're on that Facebook, you see that it's on the fan page of our local establishment. So make sure that you're giving that a like and a follow because we will be using our Facebook a little bit more often. So yeah, check that out. And if you're on the YouTube, we appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up, hit that follow and subscribe button. We definitely appreciate it. And if you're a long follower on Twitch, we thank you. Hit that subscribe and get those channel points. But until then, let's talk some War Games, shall we? And the first match on the docket that I'm predicting because this is the match order that I'm predicting. I'm going to either take the credit or take the fall on this one if it's wrong. Just so, Ed, you're not in line here.
You're good.
But yeah, I have, right to start off, I have the women's War Games match. And then we got there. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. I'll take care of the banners. I got you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we did not talk this over, so good to know. But yeah, War Games women match. We got the team of Damage Control, which features Bailey, the reigning, not defending SmackDown Women's Champion Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane going up against Bianca Belair, Charlotte, Shotzi, and the man Becky Lynch.
Yeah, there's some interesting developments tonight with this one, with us finding out that it was Bianca who asked Charlotte to make the call to bring in Becky Lynch for this show.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm in two minds about this. And for a lot of the matches, I'm in two minds. Like, if they go this way, I see this match going exactly this way. If they go another way, I see it going exactly this way. This is either them kicking out Bailey out of Damage Control because she loses this match, or they prolong that to the Rumble or something else, and they have to win. It's one or the other.
Now, I want to kind of take this and run with it a little bit with that one, with the potential of punting Bailey from Damage Control. Are we going to see just the three and Dakota Kai running as Damage Control? Will we see somebody replacing Bailey? How do you think that will happen? And on top of that, could we see Bailey reunite with some fellow friends, perhaps, that are seeing on the other side? Well, yeah. Okay, so I said this on Tom Colley's chat, and I think it would be funny. And I think it really would be funny. We all know Sasha Banks is not in WWE. So how funny would it be if Bailey is punted? She's then forced to reunite with her 4 horsewoman friends of Becky Lynch and Charlotte. But instead of grabbing the original 4 horsewoman wrestling, Sasha Banks, like that's fourth, they go from MMA 4 horsemen, the only one is still in the company, and Shayna Baszler.
I've changed the layout just for a little bit, just so I don't get covered by the comments every time. There we go.
No, that's fine.
It also, unfortunately, shows delays that Parrish doesn't like, but it's fine.
It's Ruffles.
It's Ruffles, yes. Chris Best says he wants Kairi to hit her insane elbow off the top of the cage. I wholeheartedly agree. I think the same thing. I think that Bailey is going to end up having to join forces with a Charlotte, and potentially a Becky if they keep bringing her over to SmackDown to do stuff over there. I think they run as 3. I think it's going to be 3-on-3. I don't think Sasha comes hiding her hair to any of this for at least a year and a half. Because I'm one of those believers that I think she's going to continue doing her thing once she's healthy. I don't see her coming back. Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't want her back. I'm more than happy to let her continue doing her thing in places that I don't have to watch.
I really wouldn't be shocked either way.
Like I said, I'm not surprised or shocked either way. I mean, Bailey tweeted out a picture today with her, Kairi, Asuka, and Sasha, and she says, "I always have a plan." So it's just more of people fueling the fire for things that aren't going to happen. Yeah. Story of the weekend: people fueling the fire for things that aren't going to happen. But like I said, if I'm forced to pick one way or the other, I think they're kicking Bailey out. I think that's the smartest and the best decision to make. Do it now. And it gives you another top contender to win the Royal Rumble. Because I think if you kick Bailey out, I think there's a storyline that you can take where Bailey wins the Rumble and challenges Io at WrestleMania. I think that would be a fun match. I don't think you have to do it that way, but I think that's a match that you could do at WrestleMania.
Do we have a PLE in December?
No, I don't believe so. I think we just have deadline. I think we just have deadline.
Okay. So there's a lot of SmackDowns then after Survivor Series to the Rumble. So I wouldn't hate the fact if they decided to slow play this a little bit more, because the way they've been teasing it, I feel has been done very well. And it's probably one of the more intriguing woman storylines WWE has done in a little while now. I think it's interesting to see that, and I think they still want to slow play fans accepting Bayley as perhaps that baby face, because, well, I mean, I think people enjoy to hate her in the great way.
I can confirm Ashton is correct. Rumble is next after Deadline.
So I wouldn't hate it if she took the pin here. If this team is to lose, I wouldn't hate it if she took the pin, and I really wouldn't hate it if somebody like Charlotte or Bianca gets the win. Perhaps I maybe if you want Shotzi to be a part of that in that, and maybe get like a shot, because Shotzi against Iro, maybe for the women's title, the Rumble wouldn't be half bad if you ask me. But I don't know. Like, I think maybe Bayley takes the pin here. All sides look at her getting kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it feels deserved, but maybe people start feeling a little bit sorry for Bayley. But I'm going to throw a monkey wrench. What if Bayley is the one who gets the win?
And that's the other side of it, is what I was saying. If they win, she either gets the win or they lose and she takes the pin. But it all revolves around this storyline about Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
Either she's proving herself to these people who, be honest, don't like her right now. Asuka has no reason to like Bayley. Kairi Sane certainly has no reason to like Bayley. And Io Sky's about as annoyed with Bayley as you can get and still be friends.
Another thing I could see is that maybe Io does something kind of like what we've been seeing a lot lately, that maybe Io does have the win at hand. Bayley accidentally costs the pinfall to happen, whereas Io doesn't get it. And then something happens to Bayley, and then Kairi makes a save. Because I have a weird feeling that we might see this being something Kairi does well, because she just rejoined the company. She needs something to look good here. I can see her getting the win. It seems like a WWE move to make sure that she gets that big pinfall here. But I don't know. They're definitely storyline within storyline. I think as this match progresses and like as the build-up progressed, the intrigue of the story within the match increases as well. And I thought good, because at first this felt like the biggest thrown together War Games match you can possibly have, but now it's starting to feel very intriguing with all the underlying factors that are with it.
Yeah, like I just wish that they would have had a couple more people on the non-damage control side that made a bit more sense. Like, I think Becky makes perfect sense. Bianca's fought with Becky. Bianca's fought against Becky. Like, these two know each other enough to be like, I need somebody badass that can be by my side. I haven't fought with her before, but I fought against her a whole bunch to know that this is who I need. Same thing with Charlotte. They common enemies. Charlotte, make the call, bring Becky in. That all makes sense. I just wish there was somebody other than that they could have the Shotzi spot. I like that Shotzi's getting the spotlight here, that she's going to be in the match and getting that. I just wish it were somebody else. To me, it would have been great to be Lyra. I think this would have been a great spot to show off Lyra Valkyria.
See, and that's kind of where I thought, hey, like if they were going to add a fifth member like the men did eventually, I could see Damage Control adding like a Xia Li into the game, and then you have that Lyra as that fifth member, and that would make sense. But a question, our local parish
fries and our local parish connection.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't see the little
French fry emoji.
Yeah. I think too, in a perfect world, like when you think about this, if it wasn't Shotzi and you could have had it, Sasha probably would have been in that role. and you probably would have expedite the kick out of Bailey. So then that would have prompted Bailey to be that fourth, and then it would have been the 4 horsewomen against whatever damage control would be. And maybe Bianca Belair, A, might not have been in this match, or B, could have been on that side of... Because there was a time where everybody thinks Bianca's turning heel. And I'm kind of shocked that they never went that route because I really want to see it.
They haven't yet. It still could happen here, by the way.
What if Bianca is the one to turn on her team
and Bailey picks up the scratch?
And Bailey gets punted out because she's replaced by Bianca.
No, because I think if you turn Bianca heel, you put her in with Montez and MVP with Montez and Lashley and Dawkins. I think if you're going to turn her heel, you might as well just put her there.
True. I mean, I also wouldn't mind Jade Cargill being a part of that, but that's personal opinion. I do want to get this because I did, just like last time, I wrote down the betting odds, and I'm curious to see how accurately the betting odds always seem to go. Right now on this match, and this is betonline.com, by the way, so if you do want to bet on Survivor Series, you can. Just bet responsibly and don't hurt your wallet. Try to help it. But they have damage control at a -180 as the favorite to win this match, while they have the Team Bianca, I'll just call it, at a +130. Now, if you guys want to know more about how this is read and how to do it properly, I am not the guy. Go to Bet Online. They'll tell you. They're not a sponsor, but if they want to, please, we could use it. But yeah, I thought that was interesting when I was looking it up.
Oh, come on, Barry. Shotzi doesn't have an annoying character. Shotzi is just this crazy lady who does the things that she does for the reasons that she does them. Shotzi is lovable and delightful.
I really don't. I can't vibe with her right now. There's no
I've never vibed with Shotzi, but I get the feel. I get the vibe. It's not something I vibe with either, but I get it. I'm not against it. Who are you picking?
I'm gonna pick Damage Control. I think just the high of that group right now. I think they have the most intriguing storyline. I'd like to see them become as dominant of a group as any other group that we've seen in the last little while. Especially, we've never really seen a dominant 4-person women's group, and I think that's really cool. So I'm going to pick them, and I'm going to take Kairi Sane pins Shotzi for the win.
I'm going to take the baby faces, and I think that is going to be Charlotte Flair pinning Bailey.
Okay.
Chris Best, I want to vibe with Shotzi, but for whatever reason, I can't. Like I said, I get the reason people do, but at the same time, like Chris Best, it doesn't click with me, but I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about her. I'm just I just can't. I don't know. Don't know yet.
All right, Parrish. Moving on to the next match in the same order.
Yeah. So I have the next match that was changed on this tonight, as Santos Escobar injured Carlito on tonight's episode of SmackDown, preventing Carlito from being medically cleared to compete at War Games. Been replaced by Dragon Lee, who has been viewed as Rey Mysterio's next in the world of WWE. So very confusing matchup, because I thought going in this was Santos Escobar's match to have. I thought Los Lotharios were going to help him defeat Carlito, and we're going to see a new little group there. Now with Dragon Lee in the equation, I have no idea how this is going to be. Don't have any betting odds on this because
there's no way we can have betting odds for a match that just got changed. Before we get into all this, I do want to go ahead and shout out a comment that I wholeheartedly agree with. This match will still be fantastic regardless.
Yes. Yeah.
This match is going to be a banger. Agreed. Parrish, go ahead and talk about the beatdown of Carlito tonight.
Well, just like being bankrupt, it made no sense to me. So what it was basically Carlito comes down. He looks like he's getting down to Fred Durst because his biscuit was limping. So it seemed like, okay, they're doing something here. Santos interrupts them. They have a beak off. And then all of a sudden they start fighting. And then it looked like Santos he got the worst of it. They go to a commercial. They come back. The beatdown's continuing in the backstage area. And then Santos goes to do something to Carlito's arm. And that gets prevented by Dragon Lee, who makes the save. And only then to have probably the least Nick Aldis-like promo backstage segments saying that Carlito's not medically cleared. And Santos says, well, then I want the match. And instead of postponing the match like Nick Aldis was going to have, he then puts Dragon Lee in the spot, thus creating a completely fun situation for us, making new graphics on the fly for the show. And because they were different looking, it was a cluster. You know what? Yeah. In a nutshell, that's what happened.
Yeah. So I've been talking about this, and I think this is the way I think this is going to go. I think we're going to have Dragon Lee in charge, doing his best. He's going to have a fantastic showcase match here against Santos Escobar. They're going to go back and forth. But Dragon Lee's going to get the advantage. And then all of a sudden, hopping out of the crowd, we're going to see Garza, and we're going to see Humberto Carrillo. And they're going to jump up, and out are going to come Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. You'll probably see Zelina come out too. And that's when out of the crowd pops Elektra Lopez. And we get these 4-person teams. And Santos gets the win. In all of this chaos, Santos manages to, schoolboy Dragon Lee, small package, whatever it might be, and goes ahead and gets the win. That's what I want to see happen here. I think everything's in place to do it. I think that Humberto or as I call them on NXT, on Taking Over, the Garzas are a perfect person to do this because Del Toro and Joaquin are called, what is a team? Legado del Fantasma. Not anymore, but they used to be Legado del Fantasma. Thank you, Ashton, for making me remember that horrible time that I had a few weeks ago on Taking Over when I couldn't remember it.
That was fun because I was there too.
Yes. The funny thing about that story is it's not just fan booking for that. There's a legitimate storyline reason within the wrestling world to make having Garza and Carrillo joining make sense. Rey Mysterio starts the LWO in WWE. He restarts the LWO and he brings in Legado del Fantasma. None of their lineage, with the exception of Santos Escobar, are legendary Spanish wrestlers. However, the Garzas, as I call them, Carrillo and Angel, are the son and nephew of Hector Garza, who was in the original LWO. Sorry, their uncle. It was their uncle. It was in the original LWO in WCW. So it makes perfect sense that they'd be angry at Rey Mysterio and they'd be willing to side with somebody like Santos, whom they respect because he has a lineage in the world of Spanish wrestling. And it all comes together and it all makes sense. And that's why they go forward as this new faction.
How long ago did you send me that on Slack, by the way?
I just sent it to you 2 seconds ago and I saw it on Twitter.
That's what I thought. And my first line was, you...
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just literally was scrolling Twitter just to see if there was anybody talking about anything new that's changed for the show. And I saw it and sent it. For those that don't understand what I'm talking about, I sent Parrish the picture for Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar that was in the original graphics that he had all the matches set for that aren't this graphic.
That I had to change last minute because WWE, yeah.
Yep, there was a graphic.
Now, I'm thinking about bringing that F back in, is all I'm going to say.
All right, Parrish. Prediction: Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar.
So, I strongly believe you have Santos win this match because you cannot up and down this guy like you did with Dolph Ziggler for the better part of 15 years. This guy is too good, too talented, too much of a star that can make an impact right now on your broadcast. And the fact that you have him in a natural setting with that turn is just too good to waste. And I understand that you're trying to really hard to bring up Dragon Lee right now. And this is the reason why I hated this. And I probably would have preferred somebody that was originally in Legado del Fantasma, one of those guys, perhaps a Walking Wild instead, because then it's an easier match in terms of the storyline. I still think, actually, you know what? Because I do think you have a lot of heels on this, I still think the right move is Santos looking strong and looking good. I still think he picks up the win. I do think what were their tag names again? Los Sinceros?
Yeah, Los Lotharios. I call them the Garzas.
Yeah. I do think that gets added. But one thing that's in my head right now that I can't get out is what happens if Dragon Lee pulls up a very quick roll-up win and Santos gets so mad that he beats down Dragon Lee and Los Lotharios comes in to help with the beatdown to signify that. They bring out LWO shirts for themselves only for Walking Wild and Del Toro to come out and save Dragon Lee. And then we have that as a trio versus trio match following that the following week on SmackDown.
I like it. Like I said, I see all of that happening. I think Dragon Lee can eat losses for a little bit longer. He hasn't been here too long. He's been made to look fantastic. There's no problem with him eating a loss on pay-per-view right now.
No.
I think you push Santos Escobar to the moon right now. As best you can, you push him until Ray's back. And even then, you push him harder.
Yeah. And I'm someone that doesn't really think like a DQ or one of those funky finishes really matter. If Los Lotharios helps Santos defeat Dragon Lee, I don't think a 3-on-1 hurts Dragon Lee at all.
Yeah,
and that is why. And that's why I want to stay to kind of what I was thinking with Santos picking up a dirty win over Dragon Lee with the help of Los Lotharios, maybe still a beatdown afterwards, still get that same result, because I do think it's time to kind of start that Turf 4 over the LWO name, and I think we're eventually going to get a winner takes LWO.
I can see it. I'm also picking Santos Escobar, although I wouldn't be surprised to see Santos lose by disqualification.
Yeah.
Like I can see that too, with like a 3-on-1 beatdown where they just decide to say screw the match and they just beat him down.
I will say prior to the switch, Carlito was a plus 500 on Bet Online, while Santos was a heavy favorite at minus 1,000. So if that wasn't an indicator enough to where the direction was, that's how it's stood.
And just so we're clear on WWE betting, so the match results for the night typically get locked in a few hours before the show. Mm-hmm. So if you really want to know and you want to spoil the fun for yourself, often you can go ahead and start looking at the betting odds, the live betting odds within the last hour before the pre-show ends. The last little bit before the pre-show ends, because that's when the WWE money starts getting flooded in with people who know the finish start putting their money down.
Yeah, and I will kind of just fact check myself. These were as of 2 days ago.
Yes,
that is what I think. So,
and like I said, it's just added indication as to where people think the money's going to go. This is where people would put their money if they were betting, and these people are betting. Moving on to our next match, we have WWE Women's Championship match between Rhea Ripley and the winner of the Battle Royal, Zoe Stark.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. I'm going to love this match. It's a great showcase for Zoe Stark to get a great big match in her, get her own debut on a pay-per-view card in a singles match, because I don't think she's ever had a singles pay-per-view match on the main roster. So this will be fantastic for her. This is
not a singles. Not a singles.
That's what I'm saying. Not a singles match.
Yeah. I think you're right on that.
So I just think that it's absolutely fantastic that we go ahead and talk about how great this is for her, but how there's zero chance she wins this match. Like, let's just be honest. There's no chance, no chance in hell that Zoe Stark takes this title off of Rhea Ripley. We're gonna have fun watching it, but we're not seeing that title move.
I'm just not. Okay, we got Santos. I'm just scaring same old. Thanks. What do you think about that?
No.
This is the match where I actually do think we are going to get a return.
Oh yeah.
This is the match where I believe Trish Stratus comes back to cost Zoe Stark the match.
I can see it.
I don't think it does anybody anything with a win or a loss. I think this is an opportunity for Zoe to put up a great performance. And I think this is an opportunity for her. But there is no way you're taking the title off Rhea. Bet Online, believe me, while they put her at a humongous minus 3,000 favorite over Zoe's plus 800. So it was as one-sided as my Edmonton Oilers today, which is rare. Yeah, I mean, I just hope Zoe looks like $1 million in this. I hope she has a great match, and I hope she has that treatment of like, oh my God, Zoe's a player. She is going to be a gigantic threat, not only towards that title in the future, but now she's a legitimate threat in the Royal Rumble match.
Parrish, what do you think about this statement? Is this something that you think happens? If that does happen, do we go Trish versus Zoe at Mania?
I would have the farewell to the feud at WrestleMania. Yeah, I wouldn't do their first match. I do think we might get it on a Raw, and then they're entered in the Rumble match, and then that gets continued. Maybe we will see something through an Elimination Chamber, and then their farewell could be at WrestleMania. I don't think that's out of the question if I was booking it. But I do think a feud with Trish Stratus gives you a reason to care a lot about Zoe Stark afterwards. We all know that Trish Stratus is not contractually done with WWE. So I think that is very much so. And I think this is the one match we will see a return live in Chicago at Survivor Series War Games.
That we haven't already had announced.
That was not announced, yes. Yeah. What do you think?
Like I said before, I think this is a great chance for Zoe Stark to go ahead and get to show off who she is, what she can do with an opponent that's going to make her look like $1 million. Rhea Ripley has shown us that she can command a match. She is a ring general in terms of an in-ring aspect, not a Gunther style in-ring general, but like a veteran in-ring general. She's got that down. She can call this match on the fly. Mm-hmm. She can take control of it. She can make sure she gets all of her shit in while also making sure that Zoe Stark has chances to look like she can beat her, to have, make her look fantastic and still put her down at the end of the day without any issue.
Well, I mean, at the end of the game, like, I think the winner of the Rumble should want to be is probably going to be the one to dethrone Rhea Ripley. But unless you have a Bayley and Io type thing. But yeah, no, I think Rhea's holding this title all the way till WrestleMania. I don't see a reason to have her drop it. But I wouldn't hate a very unexpected finish. I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate if Zoe Stark did this and they came back to you at the Rumble, Rhea won her title back, and it was like just a one-shot thing just to make Zoe look legitimate, because it is that visual. Once somebody holds the championship, you do look at them differently.
Yeah. Ash is saying it'll be similar to Zelina versus Rhea at Backlash. Yeah, I agree. It'll be a match that Zoe gets a couple of near falls, but at the end of the day, nothing really happens, and she loses this match fantastically. No, I don't think we need to involve Dominic about that. We've already fought for the custody of Dominic. It's enough. Plus, Dominic has other things to do this night. Let's leave Dominic alone for the Rhea Ripley stuff for right now. Moving on to the next match.
I don't think Zoe Stark is the seducing type either. So
no.
Just gimmick-wise, I'd throw that away.
Yeah.
But
we both pick Rhea Ripley by a million.
Yeah. And then
if you're gonna bet this might be the match to do it, just put your money on Rhea Ripley and call it a day.
Well, I mean, yeah, or this match. And that is the Intercontinental Championship match with the longest reigning Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of all the time, Gunther, going up against The Miz, the Autonomy of Awesome, Mike Mizanin.
Now, I talked about on WrestleDraft that there was a match that I have a prediction for that the world's going to think I'm crazy. It's right here. I go back to Monday Night Raw, and Gunther's cutting his promo, and he's talking about how Miz was a weird-looking dude when he was coming up in the business, and that Miz used to get picked on. I'm sorry. The man who looked like this is not the person who gets to talk about people being picked on in the early days of the wrestling business. For those that don't know, this is a picture of Gunther from way back in the day working the indies.
He was still probably a better wrestler than The Miz, though.
Probably, because The Miz really wasn't a trained wrestler.
And here's the thing. If somebody looked like that wasn't getting picked on,
I'm sure he was.
Maybe not.
He's a chubby dude. He's a
chubby guy when he got hired.
He was a chubby dude when he got hired. He was a chubby dude all up until he got into the main roster. And all of a sudden, he started losing weight. I'm just saying.
Now it looks like $1 million.
Well, yes, because Ginny made sure he got in shape for the wedding. Anyways, beyond all that,
there's a time to get in shape.
The Miz is the greatest Intercontinental Champion the WWE's ever had. Not the longest reigning, not the most interesting.
That's self-entitled on your end.
I'll take it. I don't care. I think The Miz is the greatest Intercontinental Champion that this company's ever had. If he gets this, he will be a 9-time Intercontinental Champion, which will tie with the most reigns with Chris Jericho. Also,
in the WWE.
We're not counting the IWGP title, the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, as the Intercontinental Championship. That doesn't happen. It's not real. Stop saying that.
If we're counting Ric Flair's NWA titles in this picture as 16 times,
it's different.
We count.
No, we're not talking.
We count his.
Ric Flair's 17-time World Heavyweight Championships isn't the same as the Intercontinental Championship. These are two different statements, Parrish. Stop.
I know. I'm just saying in a general thing.
No.
If we're going to use Ric Flair's outside of WWE stats and say he's a 16-time champion in the realm of WWE, I am going to say when Miz, if he ever wins the Intercontinental Championship again, he is still not tied with Jericho because he would be, by that theory, a 10-time champion. I don't agree with it. I think it all should depend on what you do in WWE. I agree with that.
Okay, Garfield. By the way, Barry Monkey, I'm just using the Garfield. Yes, round is a shape, but anyways.
Shape of his Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. I'm just saying. It will be able for WWE to be able to talk about Miz having tied for the most reigns in the history of this belt. Because it will. He can go ahead and do that. And if he holds it for about, 20 or 30 days, he will pass as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion through all of the title reigns. Because he's very close to passing that number as it is. I want to say he's within a month.
I hope he
Gunther needs to lose this title at some point in the near future to be able to go after the world championship. I think this is the perfect place and time to have Gunther lose the title here and then win the Royal Rumble and take on Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship and be crowned at WrestleMania, so that when he goes to France, he is a conquering hero as a European holding the World Championship in France, and then continue to hold it where he is going to be the all-conquering hero when we get to Berlin. But to do all that, he needs to lose this title, and there is no better person at all right now for him to lose it to than The Miz.
One of the funniest things I think I've seen Gunther do is completely crap on the Ultimate Warrior without really going too negative in the way of how he said it. And that was done in the bump. I think if you were to have anybody ever to hold the Intercontinental and World Heavyweight title again, Gunther is the perfect guy to do it. The most realistic person that could do it. The guy up here is
the greatest Intercontinental
as
champion of all
silly
time.
as my dad jokes when it comes to believability, when it comes to kicking that guy's the guy above you. I do not have any sympathy for Mike. I don't hate him, but I hope he gets squashed like a bug. And we see the longest and by average the best Intercontinental champion. Because how many days is The Miz as champion?
2000 something.
So he needed 8 reigns to get 2,000, whereas it took Gunther 1 to get 25% of that.
I mean, you got to lose the title to win the title. You know, it is what it is.
Do you? I mean, Seth Rollins had the U.S. and WWE title at one point.
Yeah, and that was a bad idea, and we proved that. All right, so The Miz has 8 title reigns combined for 597 days, recognized by WWE at 592. Pedro Morales has 617 recognized days as the longest reigning Intercontinental champion in combined and in reigns. No, I'm sorry. That's not right. Why is this? Wikipedia sucks sometimes. You got to kind of figure it out. Pedro Morales has 619 combined days as champion and 2 reigns. Miz has 8 for 597.
And Gunther's at what, like
531.
Okay, then. So what it basically takes Miz 8 tries to do, it only takes Gunther 1. For the most part.
I mean, when you talk, but again, when you talk about the fact that Gunther is this great champion, other than the stuff he's done recently, has he?
Clash of the Castle match of the one of the matches of the year.
Yeah, Sheamus, that's great.
The triple threat of WrestleMania was fantastic.
Yeah, it was all right.
Matches with Gable, amazing. Matches with Bronson Reed, great. And matches with Tommaso Ciampa, great. Some of the matches that you're seeing on Raw every week that have been some of the best that WWE is producing, they're for the Intercontinental Championship, and they're involving Gunther. He is making that title very difficult to win. Mm-hmm. He is making that championship mean something that, as much as Mike Mizanin, aka The Miz, did at his time, he made it relevant. Gunther is making this championship more worthy than the world title on the same brand.
Okay, so by your math, Roman Reigns is a better world champion than The Undertaker.
His title reign is better than anyone.
No, he's a better champion. By your math, Roman Reigns is a better world champion than The Undertaker.
I'm saying no, because you're.
That's what you just said.
No, you're assuming I only think it's of days. I'm thinking what you do with the days, the matches you had. How many classic Intercontinental matches did The Miz really have?
I can think of 5 off the top of my head, and that's without trying.
I can think of 5 this year from Gunther. Just this calendar year.
But they're not See, that's the thing. They can't be a classic if they've happened in the past year. We have to wait till Gunther's reign is years old before we can talk about some of these matches being classics. You can't be classic in the time.
I'm saying there were great matches. And that's, to me, I think when you set Gunther is setting a standard on the Intercontinental Championship that not a lot of people have done.
I agree.
And he has made this championship more respected than most people have done.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that list includes The Miz. And I do think he defeats The Miz. And I think he is going to go on and break that record held by Pedro Morales. If it's only 617, and he's at 520.
Yeah, I think this is Gunther's last reign with the Intercontinental title, and it's going to end before Rumble.
And it's going to be the most historic of all time.
No, it's not.
Why does it need to be done by the Rumble?
Because he needs to lose it in order to win another championship. Double champion.
He can lose it at Elimination Chamber.
No, you don't. So you're going to have your Royal Rumble winner or your World Championship challenger lose a title right before he wins the next title. No, you give it a little bit of time.
I would have him win both.
Space. No, that's stupid too. No. Why do people have to have double singles champions are bad? They should never exist.
Another championship. Why couldn't you have just done it right the first 8 times and then, I don't know, go into the world title and keep himself up there?
Because The Miz can become a beatable champion so that you can put the title on other guys who need and deserve it, where Gunther doesn't fucking need it anymore. He's done what he needs to do.
Transitional champion. He's not a great actual champion.
He doesn't have to be transitional. I'm just saying you can actually have people beat Gunther. You can actually have people beat The Miz. There are stories to be told with a 6-month reign for The Miz that are better than Gunther can do in the next 6 months. What Gunther needs to do is drop this and go to the next level.
Yeah, and eventually it will happen.
It will happen tomorrow night.
It will not.
It will.
No.
It will happen tomorrow night. I am sick and tired of Gunther.
Gunther is a better Intercontinental champion than Tom Brady was at quarterback.
And we no longer have a co-host. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the main event now. Oh, no.
Don't get petty. Let's just do the show.
I'm not getting petty. If you're gonna start spreading nonsense, we're just gonna move on to the next with me as the only person here.
Sam?
Chris Best laughing at us.
He was also a better Buccaneer than he was a Patriot.
Parrish just showing how much he doesn't know about football. Anyways, we have the main event. The War Games.
Canada. What do we know about football?
I was gonna say, y'all think football has something called gray in the title. We've got the main event. The men's War Games match. It is going to be Judgment Day.
Before we get there, though, the betting odds, though, Gunther was a minus 5,000, while Miz was a plus 1,000. So the biggest underdog of the night.
Dude, just put money on the Miz. Just put like $5 on the Miz, and you make so much money when he wins that.
Don't be Pete Rose. Gamble smart and choose Gunther.
You just don't bet on your own matches in your Pete Rose. Anyways, we have the main event, Judgment Day, plus Drew McIntyre, taking on the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, the Yeet Man himself, Jey Uso, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and the return of the Apex Predator, the Viper, one of the greatest of all time, Randy Orton.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see the crowd erupt when Randy Orton comes out. Mm-hmm. And this is actually a moment that this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see. It's going to be hilarious if he just does something insanely funny to troll the crowd. But
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Before we start talking about this. So people have talked about, we didn't have him on Monday to save the pop for tonight.
Mhm.
Now, in theory, everybody's supposed to wait in the little cage and then come to the ring. Or you're the first person in and you get your own personal entrance with the music and the whole nine. Is there a chance that they have Randy Orton outside of the cage, just in the back, and he's the fifth man and he doesn't wait in the cage because we all know he's coming, and he just walks out?
No, and this is why I think you have that pop, you have him come out, and then you have him as the last guy to go out, so the fans are chanting Randy. You build and you make it as anticlimactic as humanly possible. You build that moment bigger and bigger and bigger, and you do something that not a lot of wrestling companies know how to do, and that is take a moment and make it bigger.
Yeah, they're gonna milk it. They're gonna milk that for everything it's worth. Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, I love the idea of him being in the cage by himself at the end because he's going to be the fifth person, and you have him just sitting there waiting, seething, waiting to get out of that cage because he's going to be the last person to enter the match. Because with the man advantage for Judgment Day, that means that the last member of their team will enter the ring. They'll get 5 first. So that means Randy comes, which is so weird that that's considered the advantage. But
well, it's the advantage because you get the 2-on-1. You can wear.
Yeah, you always get you're the first team to always get the extra guy. No, I get it.
Yes, so you have that extra 5 minutes of beating
the rest of the guys down before the fifth guy comes in. No, I understand how it just it always, when I say it, it always feels weird.
It just seemed weirder in your head than when you say it out loud.
Yeah, it always seems
weird. By theory, that would be like, well, is the team that is really on advantage if like this hockey team has a 5-minute power play, but then they get their guy back? But because they had 5 minutes of trying to do something.
Yeah.
But
do you have Jey Uso and Randy in the cage at the same time? Because I don't. I have Jey Uso start.
Well, they have to at the beginning.
No, because the first person to come out just doesn't go in the cage; they go right to the ring.
See, I don't think Jay starts this. I think, honestly, he lost that privilege when he lost his match against Drew McIntyre.
Maybe. I think the best, because I don't want any interaction with Randy and Jay until Randy's in the ring. Because you saw the look, and by the way, Jay played it perfectly when he hears Cody talking about who this is, and it dawns on him in the middle of that ring, and he stands there and he's like, oh shit, it's Randy. Like that perfect face where his whole team is excited that Randy's coming back and that he's the guy. And Jay's just like, oh shit, another guy that I fucked over on the way here.
And you have to think like it's a little bit of deja vu because it was exactly the same thing as when he came onto Raw. Everyone vouched for him except for Drew McIntyre, and now he's facing him because Drew never actually got over it. Yeah. So it's ironic that we now go to Randy Orton, who I'm going to throw a couple weird stats at you. When Randy Orton was last wrestling in WWE, Gunther had yet to beat Ricochet for the Intercontinental title because Ricochet was the IC champion at the time. Naomi and Sasha Banks just left the company, just walked out. You had some amazing thing. Like it was over, 600 days ago that Randy Orton was still there. Astrid is saying, do you guys remember the intense picture of Becky and Alexa in the cage? That's how I picture it.
Yeah. My thing is, I think that Jay starts the match. I think that Jay wants to prove himself. And more importantly, I think Jay's a good guy to have go because he can constantly get beat down by everybody.
See, that's what I thought about Sami Zayn as well.
Oh, I love the idea of Sami. See, that's the funny thing. This entire team is made up of 4 guys who could all be considered the guy to start the match. Because, I can see Cody wanting to do it, being like, this is my dad's match. I just want to go out there and just bleed.
The reason why I think, yes, we do see Randy Orton and Jey Uso in the cage is Cody Rhodes. The guy that got Jey to Raw, helped Jey get accepted by a lot of people, i.e. Kevin Owens, prime example. And I think he will make sure there's no... He's also the one who brings in Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he is playing that middle ground
Peacemaker.
to make sure everything's okay. And I think that allows Sami Zayn, who is kind of as neutral. You don't want Seth Rollins doing it because Seth's back, stuff like that. Maybe it's too much. Unless you have Seth Rollins and JD McDonough start. And if that's the case, I'd be okay with Seth Rollins. But I think we might get Sami Zayn, and I think we might get Finn Balor to start this match.
I thought about it. What about Dominic? Dominic and Jey.
Dominic's the perfect person to pick up the pieces.
I agree. But I think Dominic is the perfect person to get his butt kicked for 5 minutes and then have somebody come in and save him.
I would love to see Dominic be the last guy on the team. And
I think that's the other alternative for what happened. Like I said, it's just this. The fun about this is there's so many different incarnations. I could see any and all orders of this match. Like, I can see Drew starting it for Judgment Day because he doesn't feel like part of the team and he doesn't want to be in the cage with any of them. So he's like, I'm going to start the match.
Yeah,
I can see JD being
match.
thrown.
I'm starting the match.
Yeah, I can see JD being thrown to the wolves and then being like, here, you go be cannon fodder for 5 minutes until somebody comes in. I could see Finn doing it because Finn has that energy. I could see Damian Priest being like, I'm Senor Money in the Bank. I don't care about anything. I'll go start the match. But I think he's the perfect 4th guy. He's that perfect 4th or 5th guy at Damian Priest, being that big, tall guy just coming and beat down after somebody's been getting beat up for 5 minutes.
Think about this. Dominic, potentially the last guy, picks up the pieces and the Judgment Day for 5 minutes. I mean, sure. Yeah, and then went back on it. That was the funny thing. But think that Dominic's the last guy in. Judgment Day, okay, now they're finally on top, 5 minutes. The crowd is amping for Randy because they can't stand Dom. And the first guy, Randy Orton, punches in the face. Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, this match is full of greatness. It's full of all kinds of fun and fancy things. I can't wait to see what happens. But it's the end of the show.
Yeah.
We're here. Prediction.
I have to ask, though, before we go into prediction, the odds we see an attempt cash-in.
60%.
It's something you can't take out right now. When you have the Money in the Bank and a champion, it's just, you never know.
I love the idea of Judgment Day losing this match only for Priest to cash in and win. I think it would be, because that's the funny thing. I think you could make it so that, so we'll go into this because this is part of my prediction. I've been thinking about this, and that's why I say it's 60%. So my prediction is the babyfaces win. Because again, kind of like what you said about Kyrie Sane, I think that Randy winning here is almost a no-brainer. I think Randy's team kind of has to win to have that moment with Randy after the match celebrating. I think that's the best idea to have. I also think that there's a chance that one or more of Randy's tag team partners gets hit with an RKO after this match. I think it'd be funny if he RKO'd all of his tag team partners.
He what?
RKO'd.
Okay.
So I think there's a potential that the baby faces win. Probably Cody Rhodes, just because it's War Games, and I think Cody wants to win it for his dad. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Cody gets the win on, say, JD McDonough. Because I think half the reason JD McDonough's in this match is to take the pin. And then Randy RKO's Jay. He RKO's Cody. He RKO's Sammy. And he RKO's Seth. And he starts holding that title up. And he's looking at it. And then Priest goes ahead and Judgment Day jump Randy. And they put him to the outside so he can't get back up. And they cash in. And Priest covers Seth. 1, 2, 3. And we have a new world heavyweight champion coming out of this match, heading into the Rumble. A guy who could be easily taken down, and a nice 4-month reign after Money in the Bank puts Damian Priest into that main event scene for the rest of his career. For the foreseeable future, he is a bona fide main eventer, and you don't have to worry about letting him leave that main event scene, even if he loses at WrestleMania.
The only reason I think it's going to be attempted and not fully cashed in is Randy Orton. I think this is a match, and this is a crowd you got to leave the people happy at. They're going to be insane. They're going to chant CM Punk till the ice cream bars come home. But I think we might see something along the lines you're saying. We see Randy Orton maybe pick up the win. I think he pins anybody not named Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. I think that's acceptable. And then after the match, probably, I'd say, let's go with Finn Balor. He pins Finn Balor and wins. And then, going home happy. He then, sake of it, RKO's Jay, tells Cody, now I'm good. He starts walking off. Drew does Drew thing. As soon as the business done, he leaves. He's done his job. He competed in the game or the War Games match. He doesn't have to be there anymore. Then Judgment Day, maybe attack Cody. They attack Seth. Whatever. They do what they can to give Damian Priest a cash in, which then will prompt Randy Orton to walk back and just RKO Damian Priest. And the cash in does not get fully cashed in.
I can see it. Astrid, of course. I'd cry if Damian wins. First due to Rollins losing, and then due to Damian winning. Doubling and crying. But for a bonus thing, we're not going to talk about it long and hard.
Yeah.
Do you see the return of Cookie Monster Punk? Crimea River Punk? Do you see CM Punk returning tomorrow night?
No. I don't. Do I want to see it? There's part of me that wants to see what the internet has if CM Punk shows up. I am curious to see that so much and stir it up. Plus, it'd give us great topics for busting out.
Yeah, it would definitely give you a great busting out on Monday. On Sunday.
But at the same time, I think you don't need it. I would love to see Grayson Waller tease it or something like that. I think that'd be hilarious. I think you have a better shot of finding out who Shinsuke was talking about than you do CM Punk coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Which could even be the same.
Yeah. But that is the Survivor Series preview show. Chris Parrish, tell the good people where they can find you for your watch along tomorrow night and all the fun things they can see you on next week.
Well, yeah, as I get all the socials kind of going, I got it. You can follow me down there on Instagram and Threads at chris.parrish. You can follow me at kick.com/Chris Parrish. But that watch along you're talking about, funny you should ask. You can check that out on my YouTube at Chris Parrish. You can see that. on my Facebook fan page, actually. If you go on Facebook and you type in Chris Parrish and find that, you can find that as well. And then also on my Twitch at the Chris Parrish. And then you can post the living crap out of it on my X at Chris Parrish. And you can just have so much fun with that. Or you can then send in the comments as you watch live if you want. But just understand that, right? When we're done, we'll be rating out to our local establishment for pay-per reviews hosted by the man who believes the wrong thing for the Intercontinental Championship. But that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. It's yourself, Chris Best, and OMD, I believe.
Yep, OMD will be joining us probably a little bit later. Chris Best will jump over from one to the other once he is ready. As soon as the pay-per-view ends, we'll probably have a couple-minute gap. We'll throw up the loading screen, and then hopefully within about 5 minutes of the pay-per-view ending, I'm hoping to be going live to get reactions and thoughts, especially if something crazy happens. So, Parrish, where can the good people find you the rest of this week?
Visually, you can see me on Sunday after that with Busting Out, the 67th edition of Busting Out, as we climb towards that nice episode of 69, also known as the Golden Busters. Yes, that's right. The very first edition, the Golden Busters. And then the day after that, because how can you not get sick of me by then? You can see me on the Monday Night Raw watch along with OMD, with Chris Best, with Carl Carafel. And then I take a little break on a Tuesday as I enjoy the beautiful content that is taking over in Turnbuckle Talk on the Tuesdays. And then I join you once again as I creep and do my Dexter Loomis impression as well as I can in trying to take away that number one spot. I'm getting close. I'm right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nipping on your hashtag heel Zigglers.
We've got Extreme Rules coming up this Wednesday. Yes, you can find me hosting tomorrow the pay-per reviews. As we said, Chris Best and OMD will be joining me directly after Survivor Series. Then you can catch me on Tuesday night with my tag team partner, Ash Mazzaro, as we talk all things NXT, as we have Jerry Lawler's picks for the Iron Survivor. We have a tag team title match. We have a fatal four-way that if Wes Lee can pull it off, he will get a shot at Dominic Mysterio at Deadline. We're getting closer and closer to Deadline. And remember that I announced it the other day. Deadline, we're going to have two shows guest starring the wonderful Jose on the Air. Jose Gonzalez will be joining us for both the pre and post show for Deadline. So that'll be fantastic. We are very excited to have that. So you can also find me on the X at EdFries12584. You can find me on my own personal Twitch, where I simulcast most of my content at EdFries2002. I also do some gaming content on there, so be sure to go ahead and check that out when you can. But for myself, for Chris Parrish.
Hold on. Oh. Got a raid.
We're going to raid?
Now that the Twitch works again, we raid out.
Yes.
And I'm going to rate somebody who I think has a really good shot of competing for the women's world title post Zoe Stark, and that is the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. So
make sure those of you on the Twitch side go ahead and say hello to Shayna. Tell her that we're sorry we're not going to see her tomorrow night, and that we hope that she is having a fantastic night from all of us here at our local establishment. But we will see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Tired of being pushed around and not